Stop saving your money. I know what that sounds like, but I need you to stay with me because I got a tax return this year, $3,200. And I did what most people do. I stared at it, and I had no idea what to do next. So I started asking around. What I found out changed how I look at every dollar I own.
Stop saving your money. I know what that sounds like. Because 6 months ago, I would have argued with me too. Then I got a $3,200 tax refund, and it forced me to ask a question nobody had ever really asked me before. I've watched a lot of people get money like this over the years. Bonuses, tax returns, stimulus checks, whatever it is, and most of them do the same thing with it. They spend it. So before I decided anything, I wanted to know how the people around me actually handled theirs. I started with Brandon because Brandon's the easy one. New rims, a weekend trip, whatever makes that month feel like it's working. I asked what he'd do with $3,000 if it landed in his account right now. He didn't really have an answer. He just said it would probably go wherever the money always goes. The strange part is, Brandon never thought he was making bad decisions. He thought he was living a normal life. It just leaves, and he's never once sat down and decided that on purpose. That's when it hit me. Money wasn't disappearing when it left Brandon's account. It was getting assigned somewhere, whether he chose to or not. And I already thought I knew who was getting this wrong. Then I found Derek, and for a while, I thought he'd already solved it. 30 years, $500 a month, the same savings account his whole life, same one his parents used, same one his grandparents used. I asked him what it was worth right now. $194,000. I actually said that number out loud twice because it sounded like a win. 30 years of discipline turned into 6 figures. At that point, I thought Derek had already won. I was wrong. I asked him one more question. How much of that was actually interest, money the bank paid him, versus money he put in himself? We did the math together right there. I actually thought I'd made a mistake, so I ran it again. $14,000. That's it. 30 years of never missing a deposit. And the money itself had earned less than the price of a decent used Honda. Almost the entire balance was just Derek working one paycheck at a time. The money was earning interest. It just wasn't building wealth the way I'd assumed. Then I met Maya. And for a while, I thought she'd already fixed everything Derek had missed. So, you're investing? I asked her. Yeah, she said. Where? High yield savings. How much? Around 4%. Honestly, that sounded pretty good to me. 4% is a lot better than 0.5%. Same $500 a month, same 30 years, and it put her $152,000 ahead of Derek. I walked away thinking I'd figured it out. I asked her if she'd call it investing. She said not really. She just doesn't leave free money on the table anymore, letting some big bank pay her almost nothing when another one would pay 8 times as much for the exact same account. I loved that sentence until I realized she was still leaving most of it on the table. Maya hadn't found a different destination. She'd found a better parking spot. She was still headed to the same place Derek was. She just got there a little faster. Then I met Alex. So what's your strategy? I asked. Before I answer that, he said, let me ask you something. If your house went on sale tomorrow, would you be upset? Or would you wish you had cash to buy it? I'd want cash, I said. Then why do people panic when the stock market goes on sale? He doesn't pick individual stocks, doesn't watch charts, just puts his money into one fund that owns a slice of 500 companies at once and leaves it alone. Same $500 a month, same 30 years. His number, $1,130,000. Almost $1 million ahead of Derek. I asked him how, and he said 2 words, don't panic. I laughed, because that sounded like terrible financial advice. Don't panic? That's your whole strategy? Then he told me about March of 2020, The market didn't dip that month, it fell off a cliff, down over a third of its value in 5 weeks. Trading got halted more than once because the drops were moving too fast for the exchanges. Alex checked his phone before he even got out of bed, watching it get worse every morning. His group chat was full of people telling him he was insane for staying in. One night, he had the app open, his thumb literally over the button. That same year, the government sent out relief checks. Most people spent theirs the moment it landed. Alex sat there, thumb over sell, and instead he bought more. Put his relief checks straight into the same fund, at the exact bottom, into shares that had just gotten 34% cheaper. Since that low point, the market has nearly tripled. Not doubled, tripled. The dollars he almost sold that night are worth close to 3 times what he paid for them. I don't know if I could have done what Alex did. Some part of me still wants the version with the least amount of thumb shaking involved. I found out how much the next morning, when I almost walked into my bank and opened the exact account Derek has. Not Alex's, Derek's. I was standing in the parking lot before I stopped and actually asked myself why. That's when it finally landed. None of them were bad with money. They were just solving different problems. Brandon's problem was today. Derek's problem was safety. Maya's problem was efficiency. Alex's problem was 30 years from now. They weren't using different money. They were giving the same money, different jobs. I still haven't decided exactly what I'm doing with that $3,200. But I already know what I won't do. I won't confuse protecting my future with building it, because those turned out to be 2 completely different jobs.